or the developer, I will be invested and I'll be in there. So that's definitely where I lean for sure.
Oh, I've confused myself. So while you've been talking there, I've been troubleshooting in the background. So if I don't seem 100% engaged, it's because I'm not 100% engaged, but not by choice, because I actually love your story and want to know more about it. Let's go more into Luke. You tell him. You ask him some questions. You've been listening to his gaming history there. What did you pick up on? Drill into him. Make him uncomfortable.
Do you think Halo 5 is a good game?
Oh, it's important.
It's a really important question.
That is, it's a very. This puts you in a position, doesn't it? When you when you answer this question, and I'm being a bit of a politician right now because I'm delaying my answer. it puts you in a box with this.
I'll put you in a box if the answer's not the
and I'm about to elbow my way out of it. I think the intent was great. So I will start by saying that I think the intent was excellent. When you're 5 games in, I'm talking mainline now primarily. When you're 5 games in, yes, add the boost, add the clamber, add the ground pound, mix it up, please, for the love of Christ. And also because of who they were 343. It was their second game in the series after having inherited it from Bungie. It was only logical that they would want to put their own stamp on it, sort of try and leave a mark. I thoroughly enjoyed the multiplayer. I did not enjoy the single player of that game. And I think that's largely down to the lack of split screen co-op, which is how I always used to play my Halo games. I know that the online obviously is where things are lent to, but I always played Halo games campaign split screen. That was a ritual. That was the Xbox under the arm, monitor under the other, going to a friend's house, playing together. And I think that soured the milk a little bit for me. It really didn't. It really sort of underwhelmed in that sense. But I did thoroughly enjoy the multiplayer of that. I think it is a good multiplayer game with a very disappointing single player.
I think that's the right answer.
Okay,
that's good.
Okay,
that's good.
I did. By the way, I'm not a man that gets nervous, but I there was a little flutter there that I had to think about how am I suddenly going to find there was technical difficulties and then like my screen craps out?
Get him off. Get him off.
Yeah, exactly. Burly Bird Media. That's a wrap. Let's just get this out of there. I think that's where I landed.
You've given the right answer by Luke's standard, but it's not necessarily mine, and I'm the more dangerous of the two of us, I reckon. I reckon.
You've got some triggers to pull there.
No, I reckon that's fine. I'm okay. I'm not feeling argumentative, particularly over Halo 5, where that's probably about right and pretty much the consensus on where that game landed. Stealth games. Do you like stealth games?
I do, yes, very much, and I know you hate them. Bye-bye! Siri, here we go.
It's the follow-up question that matters.
2 for 2.
Are you?
2 for 2.
Yeah.
So
no, I do. I very much do. I adore the Splinter Cell series. I was obsessed with Pandora Tomorrow and Chaos Theory, and then I've seen it right through to Double Agent, Conviction, just all of them. I thoroughly enjoyed those games. I possibly sacrilegiously haven't actually played a huge amount of Metal Gear. Metal Gear is a big gap in my gaming pantheon. I haven't really delved into that series in any great detail. Weirdly, really enjoyed Ground Zeroes. Ground Zeroes is kind of one of my own experiences of Metal Gear. But on balance, I think games like Sniper Elite really connect with me, much like Hitman really connected with me, because they're the kind of games where stealth failure doesn't mean mission failure. I think I'd really I know I've obviously just cited the early Splinter Cell games where they're apps, 3 alarms and you're done, which always used to frustrate me. I love the idea that the mechanics are flexible enough that if stealth goes wrong, I can just let loose and find a path through. Even though you sit there going, I wish I could repeat that checkpoint, or maybe I want to replay that mission. I like the flexibility of stealth. So I'd always lean to that if it's a choice. And then if it goes tits up, then I'll just go for it and still enjoy it. That's been where I've always been with that.
So the follow-up question. So Luke says you're 2 for 2 right now. The follow-up question is not necessarily possible to achieve 3 for 3 because it's just like based on that. You like stealth. Are you a coward or a wanker?
So can I have some context?
No, stealth is for cowards and wankers. So you are therefore one or the other. You just have to let me know which one it is.
Okay, so just so I fully understand the premise, if I like stealth, therefore the question being, am I a coward or wanker? I am both of those things for liking stealth. So me arbitrarily picking one leads nowhere. That's what we're.
You lose a point for that. That's -1 for the political slimy dodger.
Because I've unpacked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll go wanker because I'm not a coward.
Okay, fair. I like the conviction on it. Good. That's probably the better of the two answers, really. Luke,
Sure. Yeah.
talk to me. Talk to JT. Ask him some questions.
That was the only one I wanted to ask because it's the most important.
It is the one that matters, right? I have one to throw back at you, and actually is also related to Xbox first party. The Gears of War franchise, Epic, or the Coalition?
Well, I mean, I like the first one the best, so I have to say Epic. I think the Coalition are a fantastic studio, and I like the new Gears of War games. I think they're technically absolute wizards, and I think that Gears of War is in very safe hands with them. But I like the first Gears of War best, so Epic.
Cool. Luke, where do you land with that?
Yeah, I think the same. I think 1 to 3 is still the best games, but 4 and 5 are very good, and I really like the Coalition. So
yeah. I think just in terms of them understanding what Gears fans want while still being able to surprise them, I think they've struck a really nice balance there. Where like Hivebusters, I don't think anyone expected there to be sort of Gears campaign DLC in any meaningful sense, and so that's led to them, I think, having a certain credibility that they've earned from that, while still being able to play to their fan base and surprise, which is a tough tightrope act to walk.
There's definitely, if you look at them relative to how 343 have played out the Halo games, like the Coalition rightfully don't get slated very hard for what they've done with Gears of War. There are naysayers, there are people, detractors that don't like that they put a girl in the game. Outrageous, right? And there are people like you both said that you don't like the direction that the story took as much as the previous ones, but they do come across as kind of safe hands for it as an IP, as a series, and I think most people that are into Gears are very much looking forward to E-Day. So
yes, no, I think that's absolutely fair. We need to take a second for this sort of like, I was not mentally prepared for this tennis match interview that we're doing right now between us, and it's not complaining. I think it's fascinating. I think it's really cool. May have just stumbled on a really jolly format right now.
Yeah, no, I like it. I do that. I like the conversation to bounce between us, but we are going to take it now over to what we've been playing. I think I was going to get into Luke's various activities of the week, but I think we'll do the standard. I always like to start the show because my favorite part of the podcast, you do these podcasts and you do these weekly news coverage things, right? And I don't necessarily care about the weekly news, so that bit can be kind of strenuous if it's boring. Like, for example, this week, people might be expecting us to talk about the price of the Xbox console going up in America. If that comes up as a topic, if someone asks it, I'm going to Blue Peter the shit out of it. I'm going to say, look, here's an episode we did last time and the price went up. The conversation is the same and I don't really care. So
the only difference is the fact that it's the second increase this year, which is crazy.
It is. Blue Peter. Here's one I made earlier.
Yep.
Same story.
Absolutely.
Same kind of conversation around it. But what is always fresh and always interesting to me is what's going on in the games that we've actually been playing. So let's go, because Luke's been sitting quietly and he's about to abandon us and go to Japan. We'll go for him first. Luke, what have you been playing this week?
I have been playing. Well, I finished Chronos
Nice.
since the last podcast, which I just really loved, and I was really surprised because I've made my views on Bloober known quite a bit, and I thought they're to be honest, kind of the drizzling, like before Silent Hill 2 remake. And then they made that, and then that was like terrific, and it was like one of the best things I played last year, and a really difficult thing to do given the fantasticness of the first, the original Silent Hill 2. And then they announced Chronos, and I was like, okay. It's one thing to do a remake of a game where you've already got the narrative together and you've already got kind of the touch points of everything about where you go and what you encounter. But it's another thing to then kind of do that yourself. And, Bloober's storytelling has never been very good at all to me. So I finished Chronos and it took me about 17 hours, and I just think it's fantastic. Like, it's really good, really, really good. It's got a very interesting, dark-esque narrative, really cool cultural touch points to it, great sense of place and atmosphere. And it's got these really interesting combat mechanics, and I never really got bored of those throughout the entire game. They do add new weapons and kind of things to mix it up, and there are a few boss fights here and there, but generally, like, I just thought it was brilliant. Like, it's a really, really, really good horror game, and they're like 2 for 2 now. The last 2 games have been very good, so I'm genuinely like, they're kind of like, they're like the comeback kid, because they're right. Stock in my eyes has gone way up after these last 2 games. So I'm really looking forward to what they make next. I mean, we know they're remaking the original Silent Hill as well, so I expect that to be great. And yeah, let's see what they do for a new IP as well, another new IP, I guess.
That you mentioned obviously their sort of history prior to the Silent Hill 2 remake. They also did The Medium, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
That was
Sadly, yes, they did
title,
The Medium. Yeah,
which again was a tremendous disappointment for me. The first half an hour of that game, I was like, I'm in, and then it just rapidly fell off a cliff in terms of like engagement and repetition. And it's really nice to hear actually that team has absorbed feedback and has now clearly come out with a 1-2 punch much stronger, which is really exciting.
It's funny because like I didn't, Observer was their only game that I thought was pretty decent, which was a kind of cyberpunk noir horror sort of game. I actually had Rutger Hauer in it before he died, who was in the original Blade Runner. And he voice acted that, and that was like pretty good. But their kind of fortunes turned when they started doing combat, because they hadn't done combat before Silent Hill 2 remake,
which was the biggest. I think the biggest drawback of The Medium was any kind of like interaction or anything like that.
Engagement. Yeah, because the problem is with those games, they can be absolutely fantastic. I mean, I've played so many games last year or so, and people have heard me, like Mouthwashing or 1000X Resist or any of these games that they have no, there's no real gameplay to them as such. Like, there is gameplay, but it's very rudimentary. And those type of games can be really successful, but they ride or die on their story. If their story is not any good, they're just pointless. Like, there's no point playing them. And I think for Bloober, the problem was that every time, apart from Observer-ish, every time they did one of these games, story was atrocious. So, The Medium in particular, the ending is really
convoluted, isn't it? It was just so
yeah. I mean, the ending as well is just appalling messaging. I won't go into why, but have a read of critiques around the ending of that game, because it's just not good.
I'm intrigued now, because I corrected on that quite quickly. Does Chronos compare to Dead Space at all?
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, it kind of apes off some of the stuff that... your character is, like Isaac, pretty slow and kind of...
Oh, cool. Okay.
That kind of... You're not quick or anything like that. You're in a big suit, basically, and you are a bit Isaac-esque in that you're a bit slumbering all over the place. You're very slow to turn, and, the enemies... called the Orphans are a bit like necromorphs in this. They're not quite the same, and they don't have the same attacks. But yeah, they then kind of introduce these different things to the gameplay, which is just very interesting. One being the way that you shoot in the game, which is you can... ammo is really scarce, as it should be in survival horrors, but there's a kind of tactical element in that you can blast off all your rounds just by pressing right trigger, right? And you can just do that. But it doesn't do much damage. You actually have to charge your shots to be able to do significant damage. And obviously that puts you in a dangerous position, because you need to wait for it to charge before you release it to shoot. And there are windows of opportunity for enemies then to come at you. The other mechanic is this merge mechanic, where like the enemies that you encounter can merge with the bodies of enemies that you've already killed. And if you let that happen, then the resulting enemy is much stronger, right? So you need to waste more waste more ammo on it because it takes more shots to go down, and they get the like parts of their body will become like armored essentially. So
also this will become like a hybrid of whatever
and they'll have new abilities and stuff like that. So you can go around and you can burn bodies, which will stop that from happening. But again, the things you need to burn are limited resources, so you've got to be very careful about using them.
That's very similar to Banisher's Ghost of New Eden. They had a very similar mechanic in that, with sort of like possession, and then you'd have like an enemy that you'd have to kill, but it would then pop out its ghost form, which you then also had to defeat. So that, okay, interesting.
So it's they do that. Those kind of all of those things that come together, and then with the story and the sound design, which has always been a really like high point of their game design. It just makes this really great game. So I was really pleasantly surprised, and I think it'll be like a game that will be in my top 10 like this year. That's how highly I think of it. So
awesome.
I'd recommend people. Halloween's coming up, right? I'm sure they might have a little sale on for Halloween. I'd recommend people pick it up if you like survival horror. It's a great game.
Did it launch into a sub-service? Was it on Game Pass?
It didn't, no.
Okay,
no.
I wonder I've conflated that with the previous showcase then.
I don't think it's a full price game though, or whatever that term means these days. I think it's, like maybe 40 quid or something like that. So, and you can tell like, even though it's like a very good looking game, but like the budget is clearly not, like it's not super high anyway, because you can tell that, there's some asset reuse here and there. There's not as if it's, lots of varied environments that you go to. It's kind of, Polish apartment blocks and, factories and steelworks and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of similar environments, but they mix it up enough that it feels fresh every time you go to some different environments.
Nice.
That is nice, isn't it? That's one of. Have you got any more for us, by the way, that I'll loop back to?
Yeah, the only other thing, I'm still playing Shinobi. Which I'm still loving that. I mean, that's great. I think I'm about 8 hours into it. They really, Lizard Cube just absolutely knocked that out of the park. Just thought it was fantastic. I just think it's fantastic. Just so much fun. Such a beautiful game as well. So we've been playing that. Oddly, I played some Assassin's Creed Shadows. I don't know why.
Did the content? There was some. I've seen like adverts kicking around for new content for it. Is that out now? Is that what's pulled you back in, or have you just decided?
It's not. Yeah, I think it indirectly pulled me back in because I was like, because I'm not I'm not high enough level to go to that bit of the DLC. But I did. I was like, oh, I might go and play some of that because I kind of just put it back down, not because I wasn't enjoying it, but because like I think other things just took my attention away, and I'm always daunted by AC games now because they're so huge. So I went back and just started playing a couple of hours of that again. I was really enjoying it. I think I'll keep doing it, but it'll be one of those games that I'll complete in like 2028 or something like that because I'll just play like, maybe a couple of hours here and there occasionally. So. But yeah, it's a good game. It's beautiful as well. Absolutely beautiful game. One of the best, like one of the most impressive technological games I think that's been released this year.
I'm overly intimidated by Assassin's Creed as an IP, just because it started its days as a stealth game, which obviously I've always known that I'm not a stealth person, so I didn't pick it up when it came out. I didn't pick up the second one, and then when the next like 400 of them came out, I was so far out of it. Plus, I don't like Ubisoft's open world kind of formula that they have and deliver on. So what I have seen of it in Watch Dogs Legion and stuff like that is a big no from me. But the Assassin's Creed Shadows trailer, when that game was coming out, and they had these characters with, I don't even know what you'd call the weapons, they're like the blades on the chains, just slicing through everything that you can slice through, and that made me think, actually I could slice some things. I could slice some things, but I haven't done it yet. So my Ubisoft Plus subscription sits there completely unused for the last 4 years. Good one, me. JT, Jonathan. See, it is confusing. For me, I'm very simple. So, what have you been playing?
It has been a weird mixture over the last sort of week, 10 days or so. I'm going to just I'll rattle through them. So I'm currently playing through Borderlands 1 in split screen with my stepdaughter. We're doing the full story. We've got a full series playthrough going on right now. And we're working our way through the whole thing. I've got the Game of the Year edition, which has the DLC in it. I have a real soft spot for the Borderlands franchise. I really enjoy those games and have never actually finished a single one of them because otherness crept up or I wasn't able to gather like a full squad together for co-op. And we've just I wanted to test the water with her and see what she thought. She hadn't played a game like it. And we're obsessed and absolutely loving it and playing it split screen and enjoying its somewhat slight wonkiness and the ridiculous humor and character design. It's just been a real treat. So that's definitely a something that's been a real surprise.
I'm not going to let you rattle through them, by the way. We're gonna pause and we're gonna dig in. But I have to just quickly. There's a name commenting that I haven't seen before. One Daniel Spencer says Harry Kane. Can't think who he's talking about.
No, I'm assuming you. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, certainly from here up, right? I mean, I haven't addressed that on a podcast in a long time, but yes, I'm fully aware. I did, because I got, I get this daily, once a day, an Uber driver, like, for instance, or like I had a student on my first day of the new term, a year 7 say, why is Harry Kane teaching us drama? And it's a valid question. But I had an Uber driver, like, I think I maybe just got bored of it one day. An Uber driver a couple of weeks ago did like the rear view mirror thing and was like looking and did like the double take. And I just, because I got so bored of just explaining that I'm not, I just went, yeah, he's my cousin. I just went like full deadpan. I went, yeah, no, Christmas is fucking great because it's like it's really like huge dinner. So yeah.
All well and good until your Uber fee like tripled at the mention of knowing someone so wealthy. Yeah.
Yeah, because then they were like, "Where's my tip?" But yeah, no, I'm fully aware.
Same happens when I say that I know Luke, by the way. Just by association with Luke and his Lenovo Legion Go Gen 2 and trip to Tokyo. They're like, yeah, your fees are going up. Listen, it's not my fault. Borderlands, what are you playing it on?
There was a sale on Xbox for it was, I forget the brand. I think it might be the Handsome Collection or like the Pandora's Box Collection. It was one of those where all the games, it was like 16 quid. I was just like, done. Like, that's phenomenal in terms of like, I don't like to equate game length with pricing because I think that's a really skewed value conversation. But just when you do look at that, the amount of sort of content that you are getting for that kind of price, it was just like I couldn't say no. It was great. So and I have a weird connection to the Borderlands franchise because an early version of burlybirdmedia, I got to go to 2K and play the DLC for each of the expansion packs. It was all under NDA, and it was all like the first time I've ever done anything like that was with Borderlands. I got to interview the creative director behind the DLC as well, so I have a really fun connection with that franchise, and then never actually fully completed the games because again didn't have could never coordinate the timing, or there was otherness going on. So this is my excuse. I've got Borderlands 1, 2, the pre-sequel 3. And then I have already done Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I've done that with a buddy of mine. And then obviously we'll get to 4 eventually. Like, that's the plan.
So 4 aside, what's your current favourite Borderlands game?
3, I think. I really enjoyed 3. Yeah, I really enjoyed 3 because of the planet hopping. I really like the ship and that mechanic and the planet hopping. I think for a lot of people it's 2 because of Handsome Jack and because of the narrative stuff. I think it's 2's probably got the funniest moments in it and perhaps the most memorable, but mechanically 3 was the one that I enjoyed the most, for sure.
Well, I'm going to give you some good news for when you get there. I'm really enjoying 4 at the moment.
So, cool. Nice. Nice. I've heard good things.
It feels great. Like, it's been slated for performance and all the rest of it, but when it's like you glide like in Destiny. And Destiny used to have that good gunplay. Now Borderlands has just got, like, it's not the same feel as Destiny, but it's taken enough of it to feel really good when you're playing it.
It feels slick. Nice.
It does. Cool. So I'm enjoying 4. Carry on though. What's the next game on your list?
Yes. So Borderlands obviously is a big one in terms of like the campaign co-op stuff. I've got Helldivers 2 has been a bit of a resurgence for me because since the Xbox release, some buddies of mine who don't have PlayStations have now got it. So I'm now playing it cross-play from my PS5 Pro with them, and that's been really fun to kind of a bit of a second wind on that game for me as a whole new audience of sort of some buddies of mine have kind of got into it. So that's ended up being thrown into rotation, and it just it's always a good time. It's always so reliably simple, and I think that's why that game sings. So Helldivers 2 definitely in rotation, and then Mafia: The Old Country. I'm on the cusp of just boxing that off. Obviously, nice, short and sweet. But I also have a huge love of that franchise, so I've been thoroughly enjoying that. Exactly what I needed. Something really small and achievable, and very narratively focused. It ticked every box.
Luke, have you got anything on any of those games, or have you got any questions about them? Have you played them yourself?
I've actually been. I do have Mafia: The Old Country, but I've only put in like 2 hours to it. So I need to. And I bought that specifically because I do like the Mafias typically, and I just wanted something that was like single player, sort of very linear. Short, because I heard it was like, I think it's like 10 to 12 hours, right? Something like that.
Yeah, that's fair. They're adding a free run mode that's coming later this year. Free DLC.
Where you play as that anime free run.
And it just you play as a wine bottle. But yeah, that's coming later this year, I think, and it opens up. It adds some new like activities, and it opens up the world map too, which is really cool.
And how have you found, now that you're close to the end, I suppose, how have you found it compared to maybe some of the other Mafias in the franchise?
So I think it definitely feels in some ways closer to one. It feels like closer to the first game, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think first of all, Remastered was a fantastic effort, like just in terms of when they did the remake. It's kept me engaged, I think, because even though mechanically it's fairly functional, like it's not doing anything in terms of gameplay that we haven't seen anywhere else. Like it is very familiar, but I don't think necessarily that it needs to be a sort of like a complete reinvention for it to be interesting. And I do think, I don't know who, I'd love to, that'd be a great podcast actually. I might, you've just given me the idea. Whoever is directing those cutscenes and is working with those actors, I think the performance capture is some of the strongest I've ever seen in a game. It reminds me of some of the Naughty Dog in terms of games, in terms of nuance, and it's really kept me invested. It's kept me hooked on it.
Very nice. Chronic has just said in the chat there, it's a shame that the chat is separated between the various platforms that we're streaming on at the moment, because we're doing 2 different streams on YouTube at the moment, one in mobile format and one something, the normal landscape. YouTube will merge those chats at some point, so I don't think I need to put a mean to work just yet. In the near future, both those streams will have the shared chat, and you can all talk to each other a little more easily. But for the time being, it's 2 separate chats. I can see everything from both of them. So have at it, talk to each other, and we'll just do our best for that. But hopefully, partially successful experiment. Ask me what I've been playing. I've never played Mafia.
Hey, so what have you been playing?
I don't fucking know. I'm distracted. Why are you asking me questions when I'm clearly busy trying to get things fixed and working?
Because I was doing my job there.
I don't know. I don't know where I am or what's happening. I've played quite a few things, though. I've been playing Borderlands 4, right? I mentioned it a minute ago.
Yeah, nice.
I
had a question about that. I had a question about Borderlands 4 to throw at you. Something I'd read that I liked the sound of was the sort of seamless biome transition. So like it's one big space, which is very, very cool. Does it feel like it still has the scope of the Borderlands games that we've seen prior, or does it feel a little bit tighter, a little bit more focused?
It definitely doesn't feel tighter to me. I'm not very far into it. I'm a few hours in, so the whole grand scope of it, I couldn't really tell you that much about it at the moment. The open world element of it, besides like a little bit of hitching if you traverse too fast, besides that, if you just look at the structure of it, it still manages to drag you through locations in quite a structured way. So when you have got a quest objective and you need somewhere to go, it does still like have the composition of a kind of mission, as it were. It works in that sense, from what I've seen so far anyway. But in terms of the things that an open world should kind of bring to the experience, so the stuff that you just encounter as you're out exploring and all the rest of it, I wouldn't actually say is a strength at the moment. There's definitely time for the game to change my mind, but you get like world bosses that you'd think would be a dramatic event, quite exciting, and the ones that I've seen have been the same one twice, for one thing.
Right, okay.
And very underwhelming compared to those structured kind of missions
that we've already been doing. Missions. Which is, that's how I always used to explore Borderlands games, like going through one I explore the map because a side quest is taking me to somewhere I haven't been yet. That tended to be... I didn't just wander in Borderlands games. I've always had, what is my current quest selected? Where's my next waypoint? And if it happens to go to then an area that I haven't been before, then happy days.
It gives you... so you've got like a hover bike or whatever to traverse around and get around quite quickly. You got a grapple hook, you got quite good mobility and all the rest of it. But the world map is littered with teleport points as well. So, and you can, if you're playing co-op, you can instantly teleport to the people that you're playing with, which is a nice convenient feature to get around and get into the action quickly. But I'm refusing to use them as much as possible because I don't want to shrink the world down. It's very early on to be able to like hop everywhere and not see everything.
Yeah. How are you playing it, Asa? Are you solo? Are you co-op? How are you working through it?
Entirely co-op so far. So it's quite it's got scaling mechanics, so you can play with people at different levels. So I've played for like 5 hours or something, and Demon Hunter Amin has played for something like 50 hours. Right. So when the game came out, on the day that it came out, we played together. Of course he has, absolutely. We played it together and it was smooth and easy. We were both the same level and we were going through the early objectives. And then he whizzed off to much higher levels. But when we next played it, it wasn't a problem in any sense. He just joined my game, and I was doing it the split screen format so people could see both. And on like the left half of the screen, all the enemies are level 6 or something. And on the right half, they're all presenting as level 35. Brilliant. For his perspective. And
I do, that's always something I've liked about Borderlands, is that it feels fundamentally built with cooperative play in mind.
Yeah, which is why Borderlands 2 VR was such a disappointment, because they took that fundamental element out of it. Otherwise, it was really neat. But yeah, it's fun. I like it. I'm impressed. I would like to play more. I might do some more after this. No time. I've got to do a video because I've also been playing a little roguelike game called Shape of Dreams.
This is the one that did this sell a lot recently? Like it came out of nowhere and it sold like...
I haven't heard about it selling well, but it could well have done. I'm like partway through doing a video. It's multiplayer, looks like Hades, plays
that's the one. Yeah.
Fairly like Hades if you choose to play it like Hades, and it's surprised me very much in terms of knowing myself and how quickly I bounce off of a roguelike. I do not like the repetition of a roguelike. This one has captured what made Hades work so well in a way, in that each time you've got so much choice in the way that you're building up your character per run, so much potential to get absurdly powerful, and it feels good. And then you die and you go, that felt good, but that was like a good chunk of time. I don't know if I can do another one, but I could, right? And I could get a completely wildly different build out of the same character as it presents options and stacks more and more things on top of it. It doesn't do like characters and story in the way that Hades does so well. It doesn't have the same kind of charismatic adversaries. You don't get like your Fury sisters getting progressively more disparaged as your adventure goes on, and all of this kind of stuff that added a lot of charm to Hades. It's very much I could just get on with it, but it looks good, it sounds good, it plays good. It's got so much potential for building your character differently every time you go through, and just like giving you new things to see and do that you didn't necessarily expect. And yeah, that surprised me a lot, Shape of Dreams. So look out for a video. That might be ready by tomorrow if I get on with it. That's my target for it. But yeah, I didn't know. I'm happy to hear that it's selling really well and seeing some success. I thought they might struggle because they've released it in pretty damn close proximity to Hades 2. And it obviously has.
It's not ideal timing, is it?
You wouldn't think.
Right, it's like a console exclusive on Switch 2 as well. Like, that's not.
Well, Hades 2, I mean, it's on PC, right? So it's got its launch on. And this is a PC only game for the moment, Shape of Dreams. So it's very much going head to head with Hades in that regard, in that if someone is looking for a Hades like, and this had come out 4 months ago, then it might have been ripe for catching that audience. Whereas if it's coming out a week before Hades, it's a little bit more tricky. But it seems to be, apparently, Luke says, doing well for itself anyway. So happy to see that. Do recommend it. It's not very expensive. It's like 12, 13 quid or something.
It's £16.79 at the moment, but it's going to go up to $20.99 on the 24th of September if you want to get it.
And I need some people to play with.
There's a demo.
There is a demo. Give that a go if you want to, but I do need some people to play it with. That's the reason I can't review the game yet, is I haven't sampled what it's like to do it with other people. How much it changes.
Also, I suppose that's a big differentiator between Hades, isn't it? That it supports multiplayer, so that's a good. It's carved its own little corner there.
It has carved its own little corner, but it holds up well if you are like me and lonely and doing it by yourself. Like surprisingly well for a game that's, you'd think, structured around a team of 4 people. So yeah, like it's rare for me to recommend a roguelike. I'm enjoying that one. I've got some others to play as well. But yeah, that's what I've been playing this week, and it surprised me because it really had that like one more run thing, because I was doing it on stream, so I'd overrun this stream by freaking ages, and I had a really long run where I was really damn powerful, and I was like, I thought I had it that time. I should go to bed, but
could I do one more? Yeah, I had that with Curse of the Dead Gods. It was a focus home game, very similar, I think, to both Hades and this, and what you described here. And that just, I don't know why, it wasn't sort of particularly unique in a sense, but it just, something about it just got its hooks in me, and therefore created the kind of just one more minute, man, kind of just vibe for it. So
I had that on a game that's not even out yet, but they did a demo for it back at the last Steam, I think it was Steam Next Fest, which is called Ball Pit. And I don't know if anybody, it's a Devolver game. In fact, I think Devolver's E3 this year, that was the only game that they kind of showed off. And it's like it's a rogue, it's incredibly difficult to explain, but it's a roguelike where like there's basically, the story is that there's like a place called Bolbilon that gets like some sort of massive pinball like hits it from the heavens, and it creates
Devolver.
It creates these like layers of like layered environments, and one part of the game is kind of like farming sim almost, like you're putting together things on the surface for your next run, like resources and stuff, and then you go down, and the run is you know those really shitty mobile game ads where you see like it's like a sort of lane and then enemies coming towards you and you're like shooting. Yeah. It's like that, except you're not doing that. You're firing pinballs into these enemies and they're bouncing back to you, and you can sort of upgrade like your pinballs almost, so you can get ones that like ghost through enemies, and then when they hit the back of the stage they come back and do damage and like do all this stuff. You can get toxic pinballs and all that stuff. It's incredibly good. It is it is one of those like one more game, one more run, or I'll do it again. It's got bosses and stuff. So yeah, I would highly recommend people check that out.
So that you've just reminded me, there is actually something, a couple things actually I forgot to mention in my playlist in terms of actually stuff I've covered. It was stuff originally sent to me for Burly Bird, but actually I've ended up outside of my review coverage just playing it myself. And actually it was another one, was a Devolver title, and you just reminded me, Luke, about it, because it had that weird sort of slightly acerbic sense of humor that actually weirdly kept you kind of hooked in. Stick It to the Stick Man was something that I played recently from Devolver that is a sort of massive parody of like corporate structure and like the kind of the inherent greed that comes with that. And it's fundamentally just like a side-scrolling brawler. You're kind of working your way up a tower, and you unlock new characters on each run, and it was like £4.49 on Steam right now on its early access. It's so good. It's so silly, and I think that I'd finished covering it. Like I'd played enough to review, and I published my content. It was up, and I found myself still going back to it. Which, if I'm sent a copy for something, it means then I'll sort of play it through, and then that has a sort of finite shelf life for me because I've had to play it in a different way. But this one really stuck, and it kind of just became a thing that I just kept revisiting just because it was really good fun and really silly, really inherently silly, and I think that's why it worked. And the other one actually is a game I'm very fortunate to have been given a bit of a peek into the behind the scenes. We just put a feature up on our site. Was Macabre. It's a Kickstarter success. It's the asymmetric horror game where you're a team of 4 going into a procedurally generated level, and you're hunted by a sort of Alien Isolation style creature. And there's elements of sort of betrayal in there, so you can like betray your teammates to escape with more loot, or like, there's a bit of a backstabbing component to it. It's just about to launch into early access. We're going to be doing a giveaway, our first ever giveaway on it, in the next couple of weeks. And I have Well, let's just say I was shitting my nicks playing the press preview of that game, and I can so see how it would work as a sort of streamed co-op game. I think that it lends itself very well to that format. So that there are 2 additional ones that I've been playing recently. I completely forgot. I'd kind of separated sort of my own personal gaming time from coverage a little bit in my head, and I just kind of put those 2 aside. But 2 definitely, Sticking to the Stick Man's out now, and Macabre is dropping into this month, so just both definitely worth checking out.
So when you say Macabre is asymmetric, does that mean that someone's controlling that monster, or is it?
Oh no, sorry. I to be more specific, I think asymmetric in a gameplay sense, as in like it's you 4 with your sort of human abilities versus that AI creature. It's not a human controlled thing. So no, I suppose not strictly asymmetric in that. By that definition, you're correct. In that there is sort of like that kind of opposing mechanic in the game. You're not sort of it's not PvP, for instance. Like it's not that. Yeah. That's not its pitch. It's closer. Asymmetric's inaccurate. It's more PvE. I think is more an accurate description.
Fair dues, yeah. A bit of co-op and a bit of betrayal. I managed to upset and betray people just playing golf games. So that could go
golf
well
with your friends, like golf with your soon-to-be enemies, right? Like that. It's a lot.
Yeah, that's kind of how it went down. Yeah. But it was good times. I had fun anyway, even if nobody else did. Cool. I think that's probably a good wrap up of games that we played. So let's go on to one of the main topics today, which is relying entirely on Luke, because Luke has been delving and experimenting and playing with one of the more prominent talking points across the industry at the moment, which is the Microsoft and Xbox initiative to present a unified interface across Windows handheld devices. Bring everything together on your little screen in your face or whatever. Luke's had the pleasure of playing with a fresh device, as well as playing with that new interface, I think. Is that right, Luke?
Yeah, I have it here, actually. I can bring out one I made earlier.
Do it.
And here it is. This is the Lenovo Legion Go 2, running the Xbox full screen.
Running that new UI. Nice.
Doodly do.
Put it right massively on the screen. Like put it right closer to the camera if it doesn't blur too much.
There you go.
I see. That looks like a device with some games on it.
Yep.
I like the just as an initial gut reaction, the aspect ratio of the screen. It's really
16 by 10.
So it's
really,
that's what I was going to say.
nice,
It looks like had a little bit more height to it.
Yeah.
That's
16
lovely.
by 10. So yeah, it's a very chunky, very heavy boy. It's significantly heavier and bigger actually than a Steam Deck, to the point where it's on the cusp of being uncomfortable to hold, I think.
Interesting. I was about to be my follow-up. Yeah,
I can get away with it, and that's pretty good. But it's much more comfortable to have it propped up because it has a stand like the Switch 2.
Yeah.
Which is
it dockable or HDMIable?
I mean, yes, you can do. You can eGPU it as well, so it's got a lot of customization. And one thing I do like, even though they're not as good as the Switch, is that you can detach these controllers. Do it with one hand. You can actually take them off like this.
Okay.
And that it's not as seamless as the Switch or anything like that, but it is quite nice because then you can just have the unit docked,
nice,
stood upright. So I've been playing with that, and it was surprising to see that the full screen experience was available. I didn't think it would be, but as in, I don't think many people were expecting it to be available in the dev build of Windows, but it is. So I had to do a few steps to get access to that, but then installed it, and have been using it alongside kind of Steam in the background. It's quite good because it does there's an early version of the software, right? So it's not perfect, but it does automatically kind of cycle and look to see what games you've got installed from other launchers, and then when it finds one, it will put it in there, so that and I don't think you can see it here, but you won't be able to see it if I got Dong on the right page. But if you like this, for example, right at the top, when I get to it.
Can you, while you're doing that and navigating, just ask, can you navigate it with touchscreen if you prefer?
You can. Yeah, you can. So that, it
don't do it. It's disgusting. Fingerprints all over such a lovely screen.
Yeah, this is this is Steam. This is Uncharted. Legacy of Thieves collection, so it's found it. What you can't do at the minute
Oh,
is
nice.
you can't manually add games, so you can't like say here's a game that I've got installed. Can you show it? It will just cycle through it. So, I've been playing with it, and it's been great. It's been really cool. It's not, it was funny that I don't know really what I was expecting, but when I got it, and sort of booted it up, it just, you're conditioned, I guess, having not had a Windows handheld, that it will just be like, a quite seamless, nice introduction to the device, except it's not. It's just, here's Windows, we're installing Windows now. Here's all the Windows stuff. And it's obviously not the easiest thing to navigate when you don't have a mouse, or, as in you don't have a separate mouse, you don't have a separate keyboard. For the desktop. Yeah. So it's like the desktop experience of Windows just on a handheld. So, but once you get past that, and now that I've got the Xbox thing installed, it's cool because when you boot it, it comes up onto if you've got a sign in for Windows, like a PIN, it comes up onto that, and you put your PIN in. But as soon as you do that, it goes straight through into what you just saw there, that page. So you don't see Windows at all unless you want to exit out of that, in the same way that you can exit out of the Steam Deck, right? And you can go into the kind of Linux background of it. It's been cool.
You mentioned about sizing, obviously, but being a bit of a chunky boy. Is it sort of a sustainable thing in terms of like, does that get more uncomfortable the longer you play? Is there just generally something about the form factor that isn't particularly easy to wrestle with?
I think it'll be different for everybody, right? I think it's much more ergonomic than like a Switch, for example, or Switch 2, because these, you've got proper grips here, right? And that helps distribute your weight a lot. So that's good. But I think the thing that you just notice is it's not even the size necessarily, although I think people will struggle that if they've got smaller hands, but it's the weight. It's it's very like everything other than the controllers is very hefty. So
that's a selling point. People play games, get strong.
Yeah, get strong. Yeah, you could pump up.
Get the Lenovo. Get
yeah, so it's I think that's the thing that people will struggle with, but each to their own, I think.
Sure,
Everybody's going to do.
I suppose, you're going to calibrate your interest in that relative to how often you're going to use it, I suppose, and like,
and in what environment you're going to use it in. If you've always got access to like a little table or something, if you're taking it on trains or planes or wherever, you're always going to have something that you can pop this out on, right?
Yeah, and on that, have you, in your time with it so far, has it been largely at-home use, or have you been using it while out and about?
No, I've purely used it at home so far, but I'm flying on Monday, so this will get proper use then.
That'll be an interesting follow-up, especially with you taking it on the road with like battery life and usability in the sense of when you're on a plane or you're on public transport. Given its weight and given its heft, I think that'll be a fun check-in down the line. I think, to see where you're at.
For sure, yeah. I've been impressed with it so far. It's it's weird coming from a Steam Deck. Obviously, it's significantly more powerful than that, so it can run things that the Steam Deck just wasn't capable of running or running well. It's got a pretty big battery. I think it's 75 watt hours. It might be 80. And the big thing is obviously the screen, which is terrific. I mean, it's a really, really nice screen.
16:10 is a great aspect ratio for something like that, for a device like that, especially when it yes, I know you said about it can be connected up, but it so clearly seems to be designed as a handheld, not just a dockable device that also supports a handheld mode. It seems to be very much in line with what you'd expect from like a Steam Deck. It seems like that's what they're shooting for.
It's like really not bad for $195, is it? So that's exciting.
Yeah, for 25 quid, a decent pickup, wasn't it?
Decent pickup. Have you come across anything yet that you'd say like this is definitely not suitable for this purpose? Not like it's less than ideal, I'd rather be playing on my desktop PC, but anything you try to run that's like, oh, that's actually not working.
Not so far, but I've only had limited limited gaming use, because to be honest, a number of the first few hours were literally like, okay, I've got to get Windows installed. I've got to calibrate the screen in Windows. You know, obviously you can do the HDR calibration in Windows with this, which is useful. And then, you know, figuring out, okay, how does the Lenovo app kind of overlay on all this stuff, and what does that do? There's a lot of customizability there in terms of, you know, power and performance profiles and that sort of stuff. So you can get extra performance and sacrifice a bit of battery life, for example, and ramp up the fans and do all that stuff. So that's pretty cool. It's very neat statistic overlay as well, the Lenovo app. So you can overlay like GPU temp, CPU temp frames, all that sort of stuff, which is quite cool. As long as something's running full screen, it'll display that properly. So yeah, nothing so far that's been like, okay, that just doesn't work yet. Other than, you know, this type of device isn't very conducive to getting around Windows normally. It's not very good at that. It does have the right, not Joy-Con, Lenovo Con, whatever you want to call it. It has a small trackpad on it, so you can, like, it's for mouse purposes, and you can click that down. Okay. So that's quite helpful. Well,
speaking of the Joy-Cons, have you been able to play an FPS on it yet?
No, but I do want to do that, because this also has this weird feature that it has FPS mode, so you can sort of detach the right Lenovo Con, and there's like, it comes with a very small base that you put this in, and you can kind of control like this, and so you can kind of sort of aim like separately using this, like that just stood in this dock. So I really want to try that. I haven't downloaded any FPS games yet, but I will try it to see what it's like. So I think that's pretty cool.
That's something I've always struggled with historically with handheld. So I had the Vita, Switch One, and in both cases, very much because of the stick size, I really struggled with FPS on there. And it looks to me like, when I wanted to look up the sort of the form factor of this particular handheld, it looks like the control sticks are kind of the size you'd expect from a standard controller.
Yeah, they're I'll just compare them now. Actually, they're a tiny bit smaller than ones on the Xbox.
Okay, but pretty much
there. They're probably not like as good in terms of feel. Like I played Gears of War Reloaded. That's one of the games I really wanted to play here. I wanted to take with me because I haven't you know, I was like, that's a really good playing game, right? Shooting up grunts.
That's a great also like handheld test as well, because of it being like so fast.
Yeah. And so I did feel like I was not as responsive on these sticks as I would be on a full size controller. Not because there's any latency, but just because, you know, it's, as you say, it's like you kind of, the form factor of how you're holding this is different.
It's a wrap, isn't it, rather than a place over?
Yeah, exactly. You kind of wrapped around it. So but I got used to it within about 20 minutes. So
okay, cool. So a fairly brief learning curve.
Yeah. Once I got kind of kind of muscle memory had sort of adjusted, then I was fine.
That latency that you're feeling when you're using it, it's not from the device itself. It's just signals from brain to fingertips take longer to go through tense muscles. So you're holding this thing up, and it's just like getting through.
It's not
all the bulging biceps to get to the sticks, you know. So how did you get hold of this thing? People are curious. You got a device that's not widely available. I've not seen one in the UK myself. Where did you get it from?
I was just really lucky. I was searching for it on Google, basically, and seeing if I could find any UK places. And I couldn't find any, except for then I randomly searched again, and I found one pop up, and it was on Very, of all places. I was like, okay, I don't know if that's real, but I'll click through. And it was there, and it said that it was in stock, and it was the day that the orders went up for it. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. And I ordered it, and then I must have like ordered it. I must have been like in the first batch, you know, because it's a couple of days later they dispatched it, and then it got stuck in the UK because of storms. and then I got it. So so I was really lucky
Nice.
to get one, because I know people are like, well, like, you know, in the US especially, like people just can't get them. They're just not available. And now in the UK, they're not very available either. So, but
Of all places.
Yeah, I know, it's really strange. I didn't really expect them to have it, but they did, and it is. I can verify that it is a real Lenovo Legion Go 2. But yeah, I've been, you know, it's impressive stuff. Like I say, the screen is the high point here. I very briefly played Hollow Knight Silksong, which obviously is not a demanding game as such, but seeing it at this aspect ratio at 144 frames per second on an OLED on a handheld is pretty
it's an OLED screen.
Nice. Yeah. It's like super cool to see that. And what I do like about the fact that the one thing I wish Steam Deck had, or I wish Valve did, is that obviously because this is Windows, you can use stuff like auto HDR, right? So if a game doesn't have it but it's supported, then you can kick that in. So
that's similar to the one on Xbox, isn't it? Where they've got the auto HDR.
Auto HDR,
it's the same functionality, isn't it?
Yeah,
nice.
And it's like, it's not the best, but actually it's really good. It's better than no HDR, to be honest. So yeah, I've been really impressed with it so far. It's good. It's not too loud either, even when it's ramping up. You're like, you can hear it for sure. It's no very silent stuff, but it's good. It's just big, meaty,
a weapon,
big weapon, weapon of a device. So yeah, it's cool.
Well, I'm fairly envious of that. I think of all the handhelds, I don't do handheld gaming in particular, but if I was just sitting on a big bundle of money and I wanted to get one of them, that seems to be like pick of the crop, as it were. And I know the hardware that's in it, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the same chipset that new handhelds are typically going to come with over the next year or so, right? So the Xbox Raw Ally X and whatever, and all of these others are going to have the same chipset, but that one is just premium everything that they can. Yeah. They went, we're not cutting anything. Stick it all on there. Yeah,
they went out. The only thing that I did find was very weird on this, and they don't mention this anywhere, is and it was lucky I found this on a forum that someone said this was so this comes with 32 gigabytes of RAM, which is a great amount. Obviously it's an APU, so that RAM is split between VRAM and just system memory. However, in the BIOS settings, when you get it, they only allocate 2 gigabytes to VRAM.
Oh.
Just 2. So some people were getting it and they were like playing, like, you know, let's say a more demanding game, and they were just like, it wasn't booting, or it would just crash because it'd be like, you don't have enough VRAM. And people were like, well, I don't get it. I've got, you know, the system's only using, let's say, 16 gigs overall. And it was because the default setting is just 2. So if you do get this, you should boot into BIOS and you can change it. You can actually have up to 16 gigs of VRAM allocation. So that's what I've got at the minute. And it seems fine across all other functions with that amount, but it just gives you more room to actually, you know, run games nicely. So yeah, it's cool. And as you say, I think it's the one. The thing that swayed me was the screen, because I was all in on the ROG Xbox Ally X. Right, I was going to get that. I really, you know, it's the hardware is very similar on that, but the IPS screen was just it's just not for me. And as soon as they showed this with the bigger aspect ratio, I was like, oh, okay. Like that is worth more money to me. Like that's worth the extra. So
yeah, I'm saying it looks like the pick of the crop. It's the one I'd get. And you're going to be taking it on an adventure, which will move us into our next little topic, because you're going to Japan, you're going to Tokyo, not specifically for the Tokyo Game Show, but you are going to drop in and see some things. Let's talk about Tokyo Game Show that's coming up. I'm not one for like the guessing games as such, but maybe you are, so you can do a little bit if you want. Luke, what do you have, like an itinerary for the day that you're going to Tokyo Game Show? What are you up to there?
No itinerary. You know, I think it was just one of those things that like circumstances coalesced that we were there at the we were going there when the game show was running, and I've always wanted to go, but obviously it's it's difficult, right? It's difficult to get to Tokyo and go to the Tokyo Game Show. But I just thought, well, okay, well I've got the chance now, so let's get some tickets and go to it. So we're there on the Saturday, which is one of the public days. And for me, like, I just want to see it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going there to even necessarily play stuff. I know that sounds silly, but it's just to go about and see, all the exhibitors and see, buy copious amounts of merch and maybe see some stuff being played. And if the lines permit, maybe play something, but we're not there for that. It's just more kind of taking it in, I guess.
That actually,
seeing like a trade show in full swing.
That doesn't sound silly at all, because for me, if I were going there, I'd probably be the same, like the atmosphere and so on. But it may be better there than the typical UK convention, but if you touch the controllers that have been used in these places, that's an unpleasant experience.
Yeah.
I'd quite
happily. Gloves are full.
You're a smart man. You're smarter than I am.
Yeah, or a full hazmat suit.
Or a hazmat suit.
Especially the UK ones. I suppose I imagine a big attraction for something like this would be that sort of experiencing that sort of shared vibe in the room about the sort of the excitement.
Yeah.
Something like this is where I've always said I want to go to Gamescom. Like I really want to go to Gamescom for exactly the same reason, I think.
Yeah. So and there's going to be a lot there's a lot of exhibitors there that have some stuff I'd really like to play, but I'm very conscious that this is an extremely crowd dense place, and lines will be very be multiple hours to play some of the bigger stuff for sure. So, I'm just there for the vibes and for the merch, and to say I've done it.
And putting that Lenovo through its paces out in the wild.
Yeah. And it'll double up as a handy weapon, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Fighting off the hordes. Yeah. So, it's gonna be fun.
I bet that it is. Jonathan, Tokyo Game Show coming right up. You're not gonna be present. Because Luke has refused to take you as well. Right, he's very stubborn like that. I asked last week.
We had a private conversation about sort of like a suitcase situation. Unfortunately, I think the main fear is that I'll get recognised.
Yeah. He's trying to smuggle Harry Kane through the airport. What are you doing?
Hell, should he not be flying first class?
Are you looking forward to it though? Generally, is it an event that you anticipate? Are you expecting any kind of announcements and things like that?
Announcement expectations, no, but anytime we get an in-person event now, because it's obviously so much has shifted, E3's gone, we've seen all the big three go to sort of primarily to directs, and even Xbox, isn't doing a sort of a, they stopped doing Fan Fest. There's, anytime there is any kind of gathering of the creatives, it's instantly interesting to me. I always find it sort of slightly deflating when I'll read stuff about this, and then I'll see something like Square Enix talking about nonsense sales expectations for a game, and then you go, okay, please have something for us to get excited about. That's not going to be just a shitty news story about a game not selling enough, even though it sold 8 million copies. So anytime we have anything like this where it's that there's an opportunity to connect and to have it be a sort of like a public showcase, I am always interested. Always.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know what to expect, because I'm the same as you. I'm interested in that perspective, and I would love to go there one day. I know we've seen strong rumors of a new Forza Horizon, so there might be bits and pieces going on. My taste in games as well does skew heavily towards Japanese games, just because that's what I grew up on. So I'm always interested to see the kind of Square Enix and Atlas and all of these kind of developers have their home turf to show us what they've got coming, and hopes of new things in that arena. But I can't think of any big announcements that have come specifically out of Tokyo Game Show over recent years to make me think that one is going to give us something of that note, some massive talking points. We'll find out soon enough, though, because Luke will come back and tell us all about it. I don't know. Luke, anything else on Tokyo Game Show?
I was on mute.
You were?
No, I don't think so. I hope, as you say, it tends not to be a place of big announcements or anything like that. I think we will get more than usual this year, just because I think it's pretty much a lot that we'll get Horizon 6, right? But there are rumors Sony will have a state of play next week before that show, which they did last year.
Mm-hmm.
So there may be some feed into the show from that. And
a demo of something maybe.
Yeah, and I mean, other than that, I think Capcom have their event next week as well.
Well, yeah, and what a hot streak, right? So like anything from them is going to be an intriguing reveal for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Probably some more Requiem stuff, right? But maybe in the state of play. I'm just looking forward to it. I think it's just great that you get, you're gonna get more information on stuff. You will get some reveals, and obviously, there's just more footage of stuff that comes out, so you can kind of take a closer look at some stuff. So I'm looking forward to it a lot.
I actually, just now you've mentioned about Capcom, if we got a Resident Evil 5 remake, I would be maximum chuffed. That's next on my list because I love that co-op, and 6 can go in the bin, but 5 I very much would like to see that resurge.
That's outrageous. 6 is fun as well.
No, it's not.
It's not.
No, it is. For the silly co-op. So, that in mind, now that we're all agreed about Resident Evil 6 being all right in the right circumstances, Luke, have we got anything else for this week before we move on to our questions?
I mean, in the headline, you've put Sonic Racing.
It's a headline. I just put stuff, right? I've got to put something in there, or I can't hit go.
This is great. And it was with you like holding up your Tumblr, being like, "Oh, fucking Crossroads," Crossworlds. Sorry, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, okay, we can talk about it, right? Because there's a demo out, and there was an open network test, and obviously the game is about now. So, do either of you plan to buy it?
I still haven't played. No. I need to play the demo because I'm not interested in it, but I'm not like, I'm not super.
Yeah, I think I'm so in on Mario Kart World right now. I'm just kind of that's kind of absorbed. My kart racing has filled the pipe. I'm good. So
that's interesting though, because that means you do have a specific interest in playing kart racing games. Like you are the target audience for it, but you're not after it. And Luke, you've got a dedicated play karting games handheld at maximum quality on an OLED while you're in Japan, and you still aren't sure about it. What would tip you over the edge to actually buying it? Why are you on the fence?
Is the demo on Steam? Is it on Steam as well?
I'm going to say yes without checking.
I tell you what, after this, I'm gonna go and try it on this handheld, and I'm gonna see how it runs. And if it doesn't run well, I'm gonna
16 by 10 Sonic Crossworlds could be really interesting.
Yeah, it looks good, and the reviews came out right, and it's
like, surprisingly well. Yeah.
So I will go and play it, and maybe I'll pick it up. But
this will be another good circle back. We can see if your hands have become shovels by the end of it, just because of the use of it. Like you just have just incredible heft to your wrists, and if Sonic has been the reason.
If I just pure straight hands,
actual shovel hands.
So I need to play it because I was pleasantly surprised by the review cadence for it. I didn't. They always look pretty cool, but I didn't think it would maybe review as well as it had. So
yeah, I was surprised to see those high numbers. It's got 8s and 9s from various big outlets, which was a surprise because Sonic doesn't have the same Nintendo uptick in review scores or anything like that. It has to actually be a good game to get a good score. Which is weird because I played the open network test and it was just all right to me. I didn't love it until I tried it in VR. Absolute ball ache to get it going, but you can play the whole thing in VR with a steering wheel, and then it's magic.
Cool.
But I didn't get through a whole race without it crashing, and that's why I'm not buying it straight away. Less cool. But there is I'll get the fresh demo going and give it another go, because I don't think it was the game's fault that it was crashing, but it doesn't support steering wheels and it doesn't support VR natively, right? You have to put in the work yourself to make this happen. Part of the magic of PC gaming, you've got the flexibility to put in some work and make things happen. And the real magic is that other people have done most of the work, right? So all I need to do is take their work and kind of plug it in a little bit, claim some credit, and play it. But it was actually, for the little time that it was working, it was such a fucking good time. It works so freaking well in VR with a steering wheel, and considering it's not built for a steering wheel, so it's not got the kind of analog turn of the wheel that you'd expect from a game that has it dedicated. It just worked so well. I had it
in the place. That's really cool.
I because I had the complete like flexibility of customization to try to make it work as well, I got to dick around with the controls in a silly way. So the way that I had it was the clutch pedal on my steering wheel was the drift button. So like real danger if I get into it that I'll forget how to drive and have a terrible accident. But it was so impressive and so good to play it like that. Nice. I've made myself want to get into it again. I'm gonna have to. The demo is perfect.
I didn't realize that. First of all, I didn't realize that it had landed this positively. That was the sentiment for it. So that's you've got my attention. I think with the demo being available, I think certainly on Xbox or PlayStation, I'd give that a burn. I think. I'll give that a go. I before we got to questions, I had one other thing to throw in to the conversation, and that is a little game that I've been circling now for probably about 18 months as it's sort of gone. Well, it used to be called Jump Ship.
Yes, you did mention
through some wonky litigation, is now Jump Space. Given what it actually is, I think Jump Space weirdly makes more sense. So I'm glad that they've now stuck with that. Just dropped in early access across PC and Xbox, and it is a game that I think if someone gave me infinite budget, it's the game that I would build. It's Space of Thieves, fundamentally. Like it is the Sea of Thieves template, but Space of Thieves. What I think it also does so well is that it hasn't tried to bloat. They're a small team. It's got a well-scoped premise and is targeting specifically PvE co-op with no competitive multiplayer. There's elements of randomization, but every mission is curated, so it feels probably in some ways more akin to Left 4 Dead's implementation of an AI director, which would create variants in handcrafted levels, and I think that's the best of both worlds that I love. I actually didn't enjoy No Man's Sky ultimately because it felt like too procedural a sandbox. I think it swung too far the other way. Incredibly well updated, and what a great turnaround story that game remains to this day. But I think the curated human touch mission design with randomized elements is the sweet spot for a game like this. And they've outlined an enormous swath of updates that takes them right through to, I think, end of Q1 2026. So this will take them right up to February next year. And
help me out, because you're not the first person that said that it's a lot like Sea of Thieves in space. What's the commonality? Like, how is it like Sea of Thieves? Because the trailer looked a lot more action-packed.
Yeah, I think, and naturally, of course, that you're going to have trailers like that lean into those elements. The enemy design, for instance, evokes Generation Zero. If either of you have played that game, that's sort of like the corrupted robots kind of feel. So that's the enemy type you're primarily fighting. The straight connection with Sea of Thieves is that it is sort of crew-based co-op. So you're on a ship, in this case in space rather than on the ocean, but you are crewing, you are manning a ship, and you have different responsibilities within that, much like you did with Sea of Thieves. Where I think it then continues to draw fair comparisons with that is that it's got then the seamless zero-G and landing on planets gameplay. So you're not No Man's Skying it through atmosphere. You're going into the planet. It does a sort of Star Wars Outlaws landing cutscene, but then you are then transitioning to on-foot FPS gameplay with looting, quests, combat, bosses, and then you make your escape. And you're working your way through like a sort of a map world as well in a sort of shared space. So you're there sort of planning where you're going to go. Again, very much evoking that Sea of Thieves shared experience. So I think they're the sort of connection points, and because it is PvE as well, they stripped away the competitive multiplayer from Sea of Thieves, I know, but there's no element of that in this. It is entirely just your instanced and playing just with your friends. So it just ticked every box for me. It's exactly the kind of sci-fi game I was hoping for. And given that they've been very explicit, it's very much in early access, but they've outlined a huge number of things that they want to gradually iterate on, some of which have already been added to the game. And the devs are sort of in it for the long haul. I think it was a million wish lists on Steam. They've hit, which is an incredible milestone for an indie developer. Obviously, there's a percentage conversion rate there. That's not going to equate to sales necessarily, but just shows you the public sentiment and response to it has been very, very positive. So looking forward to this. Going to be trying it out tonight. Played the prologue already. I'm going to be trying that out this evening.
Is that what you're doing on stream? Just to clarify.
So no. So the stream tonight we're going to be doing a Stalwart the final stream just to play it safe because we haven't played it yet. We want to at least we didn't want to do the opening moments. We wanted to get a little bit comfy with it, make sure that it's not, broken or wonky or something that perhaps wouldn't work online. And we're looking at doing that as a follow-up stream next week.
Okay, good plan. Let's do the questions, shall we? Luke, was there anything else you wanted to go into before we reel these off?
The questions.
All right. So the first question is already up and ready. It is the usual. Evening, fellas. It's Tom. It's that time again. What's not to like this week? Luke. That was my answer, by the way. That was my answer.
I know I was going to...
It wasn't.
It's a bit harsh. What's not to like this week? I'm struggling this week. I've had a pretty good week.
You're in a good mood because you've got 2 weeks off on holiday. And you're going
exactly.
Japan and you get devices.
I'm too biased towards my current circumstance. So I can't objectively say what's not to like. But maybe, I don't mean to be the one that complains, but this flight is really long. So that's not to like.
Oh, poor Luke. You got your Lenovo thing. It's like a long time to just sit and play games.
That thing's going to be drinking that flight. You're going to have any issues with that.
Yeah, I'm going to. I think I might have a plug socket there as well. So I'm going to plug it in and just drain all the power.
Smash your way through Gears Reloaded and that will just eat that flight.
It will. So, yeah. But other than that, no, nothing this week.
Oh, that's lovely. What about you, Jonathan?
It's not strictly in the gaming space. Like, am I allowed to go a little?
It's broad. It's open.
Outside of that, Jimmy Kimmel being suspended and indefinitely. I am just without politicizing the issue any more than it already has. We should be allowed to criticize things, make fun of things, poke fun at stuff, while still also saying that violence is bad. So, free speech is important, and that's been really shitty because I think he's a very talented man, and it sucks. It sucks for discourse, and it sucks for what hopefully we should be as a society, which is able to make fun of stuff that's dumb. So, yeah.
Fair. I'm going to pull in the next question as part of my answer because it says, why haven't you bought Shinobi yet is the next question. And my what's not to like is that I can't be buying loads of stuff at the moment. And there are so many games that I want to buy right now. It's on pause. The buying of anything is on pause, FTW. I appreciate the recommendation. And you can see from chat that your recommendation has actually been pretty effective. A fair few people have bought it off the back of you saying that it's as good as it is. And they seem to agree with you. They seem to be on your side saying, yep. Like Tom's right there now. He's playing it at the moment, saying, "Yes, it is as good as he says. I should get on it." So I will when I can. Have either of you tried Shinobi? Yeah, Luke, you were playing it at the moment. You said at the start of the show. I could remember as far back as an hour and a half. I'm brilliant.
That's great.
There's our host right there.
But I mean, you were a Sega guy, right? So did you have any like affinity for Shinobi?
Not really, because it was too difficult for me. My experience of Shinobi was when I was very small, and I remember it being hard. Like I could get past the first kind of 2 levels. So I didn't build any affinity with it for that reason, because I didn't play it that much. This one, I think, doesn't, from what I've seen, actually play that much like the old ones. It's much more snappy, fast, responsive, dynamic kind of thing, like modernized. It looks a lot more fun. So I will get it when I can. I will. Just keep reminding me every week, FTW, every single week. Don't let up. Next question is already up. It is from Isla. Did you ever play any good edu games as kids? I used to play the fuck out of jump ahead games, so math, spelling, and French. Wish you could have done your degree studying via an edu game. And Jonathan's animated.
Yes. I did, and I am so happy that I finally get to put this out on the internet and say this out loud. There's a little game called Zoombinis that was a sort of maths-based game on, I want to say, it would have been Windows 95 or something like that, called Zoombinis. There's been 2 of those games, but it was the original. The OG is the best one. And you would make your way through. You had to sort of like, these little characters could be like killed off if you like screwed up the challenges. So there'd be like an emotional attachment to getting the maths problems right. And they would be, it's all about them building a new life, a new society for themselves at the end. So they always have like a new building if you got a few more through, rescuing them from their shipwreck. and I was obsessed with it. I absolutely love Zimbinis. Yeah, that was probably one of my all-time faves of my edu games as a kid.
But yeah, for me, it was Duke Nukem 3D. Taught me everything I know about the world.
It's made you who you are. It explains everything.
It does. What about you, Luke? Educational games?
I can remember playing some, but I have no idea what they were called. Like, I literally can't remember what they were. So
I forgot to mention Leisure Suit Larry.
Yeah. Mine was Postal mostly.
Absolutely. Manhunt.
So yeah, I'm sure. Like if I searched, I could find the ones, but I can't. I remember enjoying them. That's the only thing I do remember. I remember really enjoying them. So.
Nice. I vaguely remember, like, it's quite a common game trope, but one where you had to like knock a castle over or something, so it was like type in your angle and power of your projectile and figure that stuff. That counts as educational because it was played at school, so that was pretty fun. Next one, has anyone tried the Little Nightmares 3 demo from FTW?
No, and there's a demo for that? Awesome.
There is. Yeah, I have it downloaded on this, but I've not tried it yet. So
very nice. Is Little Nightmares 3 the co-op one?
Yes, it does have co-op. Yeah.
Cool, because I've had my eye on that for a while and I know what that is, and I am now massively going to be downloading that tonight. That's very exciting. So no is the answer, but very excited to try that.
See, for me, I can't imagine that I want to play any part of Little Nightmares more than once. Not because they're like too scary or anything along those lines, because they're not like massively scary, but because they're not like fun. They're a bit of a trudging game in a sense, so I wouldn't want to do it more than once. So I don't want to play the demo for that reason. I am curious because obviously it's had that change of developer, and there's this big open question on whether they capture the feel of it in the same way. But from what I've heard feedback wise, apparently it pretty much does a good job. Like if you weren't informed of the change of developer, you probably wouldn't guess that it had happened. So that's encouraging. Next one, please. Scared Bigly, how dare you? You're trying to trick me into playing Little Nightmares. Did you know Placid Plastic Duck Simulator? Is it a game? So Yumi has...
What?
In our Discord, Yumi was putting a picture up of some ducks from a game, and it was very strange, but Discord betrays what you've been doing, right? And it said in the top right, it said, oh, Yumi's been playing Placid Plastic Duck Simulator for 26 hours this week. So it's not just a game, it's a fucking addictive, amazing, incredible game that everyone should check out immediately, probably. Just based on that one statistic. Like, I've not touched it myself. I'm just
nonsense. Actual nonsense.
I don't know what it is. Play the trailer. Oh, come on, I can do that. That's fine.
Honestly, sounds like a video game name generator. Placid Plastic Duck Simulator. Like, that doesn't sound real.
It's real, I promise. Discord said so. Okay. Right. Oh, and Idea Xbox are involved in the development in some way, like supporting it. That's how real it is.
Good lord.
Weirdly enough. Well, it's playing now. There's going to be ducks. I have nothing to add. Just it is real. It has plastic ducks. How you acquire, like, so Yumi said this, 150 something of the ducks already. How you acquire ducks in this game and what you do with them, I don't know. It looks like you just spawn them into a pool and they just float. So,
well, I know what I'm playing on the plane.
What,
let me tell you.
Get that Lenovo spun up.
There we go.
That fucking ready.
There we
go. Sorry, Gears of War. I've got something I need to try.
But one of these days, in like 20 years' time, I'll be doing a podcast still going, and do I have a guest on? I'll be like, what got you into gaming? And they're going to say, Placid Plastic Duck Simulator.
No,
hours as a child. Okay, it's unlikely.
I know this is a hot take. I'm calling it now. It won't be relevant.
We'll come back to this. I'm gonna show
I know
it
that's
to you.
wild.
Clip it out and show you in 20 years.
Set a reminder for 20 years.
My God, please hit me in my mid-50s with this.
Okay, next one, please. I've got nothing else I can say about Placid Plastic Duck Simulator. It's a thing. What's your games? What is your game of the year so far?
Oh, difficult. That is difficult, that one.
Well, I haven't finished most of them, makes it difficult. Like, I've not finished the contenders, like Expedition 33 is an ongoing playthrough for me, and that's probably a candidate, but I haven't got that far. Like Doom the Dark Ages, I did finish.
I think for me, like, there's like 3 that, in fact, there's 4 that really stand out, 3 of which kind of stand out a bit more. But I keep cycling between those 3 as to whether I think, which one of them I think is Game of the Year. So that's Death Stranding 2, Donkey Kong, Bonanza, and Expedition 33. The other one, the 4th one, is Look Outside, which came out in like January, which I've mentioned before, which I absolutely adored. But yeah, I don't know which I'm like. It's going to take me to the end of the year and have no other, games that enter into that echelon, which I think's likely that some will. For me to determine like which one I think is Game of the Year. But yeah, for the longest time, I think it was Donkey Kong. Actually, like that's the one that always like pops up as my number one. But that'll change tomorrow.
Mine is Final Fantasy Tactics. Haven't even played it. Oh, unless I get that VR working in the Sonic game. And my plan, by the way, just to go back to when we were talking about that earlier, if I download the Steam demo, because that's nice and free and I can try it. If I download the Steam demo and the VR works consistently with my steering wheel, then I will buy the game and all of the DLC. I don't know what I'll sell to get it, but then suddenly that will become the best thing ever. It'll be amazing. So that's a contender. Expedition 33 is a contender if I manage to finish it. But yeah, I don't know the answer yet. So JT, Jonathan. What's that to like? My simplicity.
By the way, someone please just make a montage of that. So I've probably got a couple that I'm circling at the moment. One actually isn't fully out yet, but just based on the technical test, Arc Raiders has the potential to be my absolute Game of the Year. Dropping end of October. It's one of the best betas I think I've ever played, and was obsessed with that open beta that they ran. It's exactly like the kind of extraction shooter that I was hoping it would be, and it just everything from world design to the feel of the combat to the high stakes. Loved it. Another one from Embark. I'm a big fan of the final, so they're 2 for 2 for me. I know it's not mechanically very impressive. It's a bit wonky in places, but I adored South of Midnight. I just the vibe and particularly the music and the art style. It's the one when I think personal Game of the Year, not objective Game of the Year, but personal Game of the Year, which I think it should be, right? That's it's fundamentally what is connected with us. It's the one that I just I'm leaning forward on my seat playing that story. So I think that's where it's definitely entered into consideration for me for sure. But right now they're the 2 that are circling it. Depending on how Jump Space lands, it might be a third one of them on the list, because again, it's exactly the kind of game I was looking for. But they'd be sort of my 3 that I'm circling at the moment: South of Midnight, Arc Raiders, and Jump Space.
I enjoyed South of Midnight as well. Wouldn't put it up as my best of the year, but I did enjoy it. Same with like Doom the Dark Ages is not as good as Doom Eternal, but it's still a really damn good game that I have fond memories of getting through. Just trying to think of things that I actually reached the end of this year, because there have been quite a few, but it's difficult to track what and when things happened.
Tom mentioned one in chat just then. It's not from this year, but just something he's been playing.
Returnal. Tom, no, you must stick to the rules. You're disqualified for even suggesting a game from previous.
No, I'm going to allow that, because Returnal does not get as much love as it should do.
It is Housemark on like full strength.
Amazing. One of the best games of the gen. One of the best games this gen.
No question. Yeah. Whatever they make next, it's kind of they've become a developer that whatever they make next, a bit like Hazelight, bit fiction.
Yeah,
A Way Out.
Yeah.
What's it? The next game is a Returnal like as well, isn't it? They've named it already. I can't remember what it's called. That's the one.
It's called Saros. Yeah.
There is the kind of dev that whatever they make, I'm going to be instantly interested in it because of their pedigree now and what they've established. I'm
What a terrific,
really terrific game.
Amazing game.
Right, let's crack through the next ones, because both of you have got other things on at 9, so we need to get to the end. Here we go. Isla, again, what does it mean when something is the Pro version? I get mad when someone calls my beloved Surface Studio laptop a Surface Pro. The Surface Pro looks far worse. What the fuck makes something Pro? A marketing team and nothing else.
It is. It's a PR beat, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's an opportunity, like the console. I suppose Pro implies something of a technical upgrade in some sense. I would look at that. If you were to sort of distill down what that marketing beat actually means, that is, the innards are better. That relative to perhaps the prior version. That's what I would always take that to be.
It's one that's been kind of hijacked, hasn't it, in the consumer space, because Pro, like, historically would mean this is a business grade, expensive version of the same thing. That's not necessarily any better, but it's
used by professionals. But I think it's
like Windows Professional. It's Windows, but with extra security features. Like, business.
I would within the gaming space, I would define that as something where it's the hardware components are more capable.
PlayStation 5 Pro for the office. No, it's not. It's marketing, weird hijacking. So, if you like your Surface, Isla, then it doesn't really matter what other people call it, does it? Just keep using it to make my thumbnails and everybody's happy. Next one, please. It's implied to be better. Is it? Well, it is now, FTW, but like I say, Windows Professional wasn't better.
If released at the same time, I think that's a muddier argument. You sometimes see like versions of the same thing. Like I always find that tricky with phones when you see like the sort of the normal and the Pro version, but really simultaneously. When it's like a mid-gen console refresh, like the PS5 Pro, then I think it's easier to understand where that's landing and what that's for.
Oh, we ran out of questions. Damn, that worked out quite well timing-wise. Isla says that if I refer to it as a Pro, then I don't get any more thumbnails, and I'm going to challenge that theory because I don't believe it. Well, I'm going to call the bluff on that. So if there are terrible thumbnails appearing everywhere on the YouTube channel, it means I'm doing them myself now because my bluff backfired entirely. Let's do the end of the show. We'll do some outros. So first of all, from me, thank you everybody that has come through, whether you're on YouTube 1 or YouTube 2 or on Twitch or wherever you may be, watching live, watching after the fact, doesn't matter either way. I appreciate that you've given us any of your time, so thank you for that. I will be in Discord and on YouTube and on all the places, doing all the things that I usually do and more things because I need to get that video for Shape of Dreams out as soon as possible. Thank you everybody. Now let's go with Luke first. Luke, say whatever you want to say.
Pleasure as usual. I'm sorry I couldn't bring you to Tokyo, but I'll try next time.
Always appreciated. I'll use the Harry Kane bluff.
You'll be fine. It's Asa I worry about. You'll be okay. And just join the Discord. Good place to be.
Good shout. Jonathan, tell us about what you're up to with Burly Bird Media, everything that you want to tell people. Go for it.
Yeah. We are at Burly Bird Media on all the things. We are still actually, in relative terms, very early days in kind of what we're trying to build, but now have a really sort of dedicated, wholesome, small community in our Discord. Please come and check that out. I set myself a goal of trying to get to 100 subs on YouTube at the end of the year. We're at 90. So it's still, it's still very early days, but something that, I'm sticking with this and we're continuing to build. So should any of you, have you enjoyed any of the perspectives with which I have tried to share upon the Arcadia Roundtable, then please do consider giving us a follow and jumping into any of our jolliness. Discord is the best place to find that. We have a lot of good things going on across retrospective coverage, interviews with devs, as well as live streams and other jolly things going on. So please do consider checking that out. We are also at Burly Bird Media on just all of the things, Threads, Facebook, Instagram, as well as YouTube.
Excellent. So, do that. It is a very nice, welcoming, positive vibe around all of those places. So get involved if you can. And that is the end. I am not going to miss a thing ever again. That's not true. Don't hold me to it. But Q&A, sir, and the podcast,
that's quite a commitment.
Actually, pretend I didn't say that whatsoever because I'm not 100% sure about next week yet, but I'm committed and trying. So stick around. Things will happen. Be in Discord. Keep an eye on it. And thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time. Okay.